just busting moves. What's going on, people? I am back with another video, and today we got the full review of the Samsung Galaxy 3 Pro, the STEM version. No more buds. Well, I don't know about no more buds, but these are the STEM version. I'm doing the Pro model, not the non-Pro model, just because, I mean, the Pro model is the better model of the two. So let's just be real. It's they've been fun to play with. You know, I've got some pros and cons about these. I don't know how I truly feel about them, but there's some features that's unique and some that I just don't even understand. Let's get into it. All right, so let's start this off with the cons, because one of them irritate my soul. I cannot get these to go into the case as easy as I think they should be able to go. Like, it's like, like somebody at Best Buy was talking about how you put them in there and you have to like angle them at the thing, but it's just like when you're just taking this out, you putting it in your ear, you rocking, and you want to put it back in, you have to actually look. You have to look down and go, okay, they go like that, right? You can't just like regularly try to slide them in. And let's see if I can like get this on camera. You can't regularly like slide them in. You gotta have like that perfect angle, and boom. Then they do go in, and you know, for the most part, that's good. But it's like not really great when you're just trying to slap it back in because you're talking to somebody. And I don't know. It was a pain. Just trying to get to learn how to maneuver that. Another thing I really hated is you can activate all the ambient noise canceling, and all that during phone calls. But if you activate ambient noise, it like echoes your voice. I don't know if it's on purpose or that's how it's designed, but it really echoes your voice, and you can hear people like, "Are you echoing in your phone?" And I'm like, that's just a bad feature. Like, I can understand me hearing my own voice, but as I was talking to people with the buds, they could tell I had switched to the buds when I was at ambient mode, because they can like hear my voice echoing. Now, when it's in noise canceling mode, it did pretty well. Like, it was okay for mics. It wasn't the best. Unfortunately, people still say I sound better on the AirPod Pros. Like, I thought the whole point of switching to these would be better mics, but I think I had better mics on my buds than I had on these. Like, I don't know about these mics, man. Maybe this software update will kind of change that, but for right now, it's not that. It's not it. It's not it. It's not it. The other thing I don't like, I think even though it's newer Bluetooth, I don't know. I think the Bluetooth is a little bit worse. Like at work, I have this like whole routine I do. I can on my old buds, I can walk around this whole part of the office, like 2 or 3 walls, and like the sound is cutting out, but technically I can still hear it. This one, it actually disconnected. Like at a certain point of that same routine that I usually walk with the AirPods and the Buds, for some reason these would disconnect. Like at portions of the time they would just disconnect. I don't know what that was for, but it did disconnect. Like that would just irk my nerves. I was like, what is going on now? So now that we got those out the way, let's talk about some of the pros. One of the pros is I like this fit, man. I'm gonna tell you why I like these over the Buds though. See, on the Buds, let's say for some reason these are slipping out your ear. On the Buds, you have to touch the touchpad in order to get them back in, and you might skip or pause or whatever. On here, because the stem is the touch, you can adjust these right back in your ear and not have to worry about touching the stem. And to me, that's a pro. I was like, that's amazing. I was like, I didn't notice it until I was wearing the AirPods, where it was just like, man, that's, in some cases I prefer to wear AirPods because I know I'm doing something where it might fall out my ear or slip out, and I can just push it back in without having to worry about pausing whatever I'm listening to or things like that. Another thing I would say I like the color. I love this design, and that blue and orange that they got going on with a lot of their products this year. I like it, man. Like it's a nice little flip to just being a solid gray or a solid white. Like to throw some little color in there, man. It works out pretty well. I like that about it. The sound was real good. Like, I can tell the difference in those sound profiles. Like when I switch from dynamic or bass boost, you can actually hear the difference. Bass, I like that bass, man. I was listening to, ooh, I was listening to some dubstep when they dropped them beats, boy. Yes, sir. It was nice. It was real nice. So I think in terms of sound, great. Another thing, I even hesitate to call this. I hesitate to call it a pro, but it kind of is that live transaction. It the fact that it's there is good. Like I think as time go on, it'll get better. And let's tee off from there, right? So I tried the live transaction on here. I tried it with two of my coworkers. One of my coworkers speak Arabic very well, very fluently. She grew up in the culture, so it's probably her first language, and English is her second language. And I spoke to another coworker where he knows a lot of different languages. He don't know like super in depth all these languages, but he can speak them to like a general term. And we'll kind of go into there, and I'll let you hear the outcomes of those two conversations.
我喜欢 Berber.
I like Burberry.
Burberry. So you really like Burberry?
Yeah, so sad. I like drinking.
你真喜欢巴宝莉
Is that right?
I don't know that one. Oh, so you really like, yeah. Okay. What's the next one? Salam alaikum.
Peace be upon you.
Funny. Yep. Yo habla un poquito español.
I spoke a bit of Spanish.
Spanish? Different. So like you could say like 小店, like that's like something as a word, but then like the northern dialect, how we say it is like 小店. So it's like a slur, and then like so it's kind of hard, right?
Yeah, and that changes the way it's interpreted.
Yeah.
Okay.
في أحكي هلا
Listen, no.
مش صح ماني ما قلت هيك
Is that the wrong interpretation?
wrong interpretation ما بعتقد تعرف اللهجة اللبنانية
Lebanese dialect.
that one I got but it didn't get the first half of my sentence
لذلك لم يحصل على النصف الأول من عقوبتي.
Was that right?
It's Fusha. It's a different dialect of Arabic that they translated it to.
So what Arabic is this translating to?
Fusha Arabic. The one that's taught to national, like the way people read and write. The way people read and write is very different from the way we speak. So if you go to Iraq, it's a different accent. You go to Lebanon, different accent. Saudi Arabia, different accent.
So this is more generic to U.S.?
No, this is more generic to the way people read and write. I know it sounds weird, but the way we read and write, there's a etiquette that's universal for Arabic. But if you were to be a tourist in these countries, you'll find it very different. The way we speak is not at all the etiquette of reading and writing.
Okay.
كيف الشغل اليوم؟ تمام؟ ولا صعب اليوم؟
How did he get busy today? Okay, or difficult today?
No.
How close
Half. So I asked, how's work going today? Is it good or quite difficult? So I got that half right, but that half was not.
Okay.
شو ناوي تعمل السبت والأحد؟ شو عم تتخطط؟
What are you planning to do? You're still working at anyone's length. Def plans.
شو عم تخطط؟ شو عم تخطط؟
What are you planning?
Okay.
What are you
they
planning?
got it. Finally got it right.
Okay.
This one was wrong, 100%. That one was half wrong. This one was the only one I got right.
So the only time it even got it right.
Okay, Disan is hungry. Person with Avron Wiz.
When you was directly speaking, like you was intentionally trying to
Make it
understand you.
Yeah.
Uh,
The nice thing is at least it writes it in Arabic. So if you were taught, like, let's say you're touring a different country with a different language, at least it lets the person who is talking to you see what it's interpreting.
See, there was some mix, right? On the one side, the other coworker was kind of getting a more like, oh yeah, that's what I said, that's what I said, that's what I said. And on my other coworker who spoke Arabic very fluent, she was just like, the dialogue, and you could hear it in there. She was explaining how the dialogue is more like a writing style, and a writing style, not a necessarily like more like conversation. So it wasn't able to pick up her on a just naturally talking. She had to like specifically say a phrase very slowly so that the interpreter can interpret it. But the reality of it is in a conversation, most people are not going to talk that slow. Most people naturally talk like I'm talking now because they're fluent in the conversation, so they can speak it a lot faster. So, but the fact that it's there, I think that can be listed as a pro because again, it's there. Like at the very least, you have to tell a person, "Hey, can you like slow down your talking so I can understand you?" In the pinch, it works out very well. So kudos for Samsung for that. We'll go into the second thing. The audio of these, it's really good. And I think if you play with the EQ doing certain, like if you listen to podcasts and you turn on that voice, it sounds so much better than just leaving it on dynamic. So like from straight out the box, it sounds okay. But once you start playing with those little EQs, I think you can really increase it. Like if you listen to music and you put it on dynamic, man, it sounds real good. But if you listen to like a podcast or YouTube or whatever, and you put it on voice, it's that emphasis drops down. You could really hear the difference, and that's something I do appreciate because I've had a lot of headphones that the EQ does really nothing. Like you can, like if you're an audiophile person, you can probably like listen in, like, oh yeah, I can hear a little bit of a difference. But I just think most people won't be able to hear that little bit of a difference. Mostly because they just listening because they just want a good sound. Like with people on my job, they listen to music. They just listen to their music. They not like, oh, I can hear the cymbals of that drum crash, and they're not really thinking like that. Yeah, they're not really thinking like that. They're just like, I can hear the music. It sounds real good. I hear the vocals and the bass really clearly, and that's usually enough to kind of pass the test here. So let's talk about the charging, right? I don't necessarily think it's that great. It's not that bad, but most people just throw it on the charger and don't think twice about it. Like I think charging very quickly is not something a lot of people worry about just because most people just throw it on the charger at the end of the day and it's usually charged at the beginning of the day and people take it off. Like I don't think charging is really that big of a deal. If it is, y'all can let me know in the comments, but I don't think a lot of people care about the charging. As long as they charge at a good rate, you're good. These hold at least like two full charges, so you'll be able to get like at least 2 full charges out of this. Now, are these big fella approved? I mean, in this case, I don't think that's even something to really ask. Like, for the most part, earbuds fit most people's ear. They include the tips, and most of the tips are in a well enough range to fit most people's ears. So I don't think in this case that'll be something we even need to worry about because they're fit for everybody. They're good. Is this a product I would recommend? If you're in the Samsung community, yes. If you're not, I don't know. For $249, you got some options out there. Now, like, you got some options. I'm just gonna be real. You kind of playing with a lot of the ANC for the most part is fine. You're not gonna see a huge difference in the ANC. Like if you're an ANC snob, then you will. But for most people, just turning on ANC, putting on music works well enough for most people. Work across the board. That's pretty much standard. Nobody really has a problem outside of that. But if you're in the Samsung community, yes, I would recommend them. If you're not in the Samsung community, I would say there could be potential other options out there. I wouldn't say this is the greatest option for the price. So that's just me and how I see things. Well, that's it, people. If you think I missed something in the video, leave it in the comment section below. Maybe I missed something you would prefer to hear about. If I get a comment, I can update it with an updated pin, letting people know what I thought. Outside of that, if you like this video, like this video. If you didn't like this video, dislike this video. I appreciate the criticism and all the feedback that I get. Like, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed for more tech videos and or gaming videos. Got snowboard season coming up, so might see a couple of those. Well, we definitely gonna see a couple of those. But until next time, people, I will see you later. Peace.